best to train for the situation, not in the situation, but we can't always control the triggers in the outside world. So what do we do when the unexpected happens? Like this. We go from A to B. I'm Dr. Natalie Rogers. I'm an accredited professional dog trainer and I lecture at one of Australia's top universities, teaching psychology students about anxiety, stress, animal learning and behaviour. Here at Canine Concepts, I show you how to train your dog with fun games backed up by serious science. The A to B game was developed by vet behaviourist Tom Mitchell and world-renowned dog trainer Lauren Langman. I'll link to their video in the description below. What's really cool is that if you train this manoeuvre correctly, it can not only help you and your reactive dog get out of a tricky situation, it can also bring them into a better emotional state. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to show you exactly how we train this. The equipment that we use for this game is really important because if our dog is, say, like barking and lunging, we don't want any pressure going into their neck. That pressure could cause damage to the nerves, their windpipe, and even their eyes. Instead, we're going to have our dog in a comfortable harness with 2 points of contact. And we're going to attach our double-ended lead to either side. So if you're ever confronted with an unexpected and unavoidable emergency, this setup makes sure any pressure gets put into their center of mass so you can get them away to safety. Now for the A to B maneuver, you're gonna need to juggle both your lead and treats at the same time. So it's a really good idea to have your treats in a treat pouch. If you need some ideas for equipment, I'll pop some links in the description below. Now, because we train for the situation, not in the situation, we're gonna teach the A to B maneuver in our house. Set your dog up on the side that they normally walk. Then hold the lead in the opposite hand. So if your dog is on the left, you're going to hold the lead in your right hand. If your dog normally walks on the right side, you're going to hold the lead in your left hand. I like to use a finger lock when I'm holding a double-ended lead. I've got a disability that affects my joints and my grip strength, but I find that holding the lead like this, it doesn't matter what the dog does, it's really secure and it's really safe and painless. To do the finger lock, you're going to splay all your fingers out. Then you're going to lay the center of your double-ended lead over the top of your index finger. Finally, make a fist around your entire lead. All the parts of the lead should be secured in your hand, and the lead should go over the top of your index finger, a little bit like you're wearing a ring. The two tails of the lead should come out the bottom of your fist near your little finger. It's a good idea to practice switching hands really quickly in case you ever need to in an emergency. If the proverbial hits the fan, then we want to make sure our muscle memory is going to kick in. For level 1 of A to B, you're going to take your free hand and wrap it in a baseball grip just below your other hand. You're then going to slide that hand all the way down the lead until you're touching your dog. If you've got a big dog, you might like to put a few fingers in their harness just for extra security. If you've got a tiny dog and you can't bend all the way over, just get as close as you can. With the hand holding the lead, you're going to reach into your treat pouch and offer the food to your dog. Yes, this hand is going to be holding the lead and reaching and feeding treats at the same time, so make sure you practice your mechanics on your own without your dog first. We're looking for your dog to feel the sensation of your hand sliding and they look towards you. We want them to expect good things. If you notice your dog is turning their head away or if they're leaning away from you, you must take a step back and make it easier for them. Try sliding your hand just a little way and then offer the food so they can choose to come into it. If you're in my course Rockstar Deaf Dogs, then check out the Food Follow game because we go through these mechanics in detail. You'll know you're ready to graduate to level 2 when your mechanics feel comfortable and effortless and your dog is eagerly moving towards your hand. For level 2, you're going to slide your hand down the lead in the exact same way. We're going to reach into our treat pouch and feed as we both walk away together. Make sure both of your hands stay in contact with the lead the entire time you walk away. Only release your second hand when you've finished walking away and feeding. Your lead hand never lets go. We also want to avoid dragging our dogs. Just like in level 1, we want our dog voluntarily choosing to come into our hand. Now, of course, in an emergency, we're just going to get our dogs out of there in the kindest, gentlest way possible. But if we're doing a good job at matching our environmental difficulty to our dog's skill level, then really those incidents should be once in a blue moon. If you're struggling to match the environment to your dog's skill level, then check out this video next. We'll go through that in detail. You'll want to practice A to B turning in both directions. So turning away from your dog and also turning towards them. Reason being, depending on where the trigger is, I might want to put myself in between it and my dog. But regardless of which way we turn, I want to ensure that my dog is eagerly guzzling their food and effortlessly walking away with me. When you've got that picture in lots of different environments, then you're ready for level 3. Now, 99% of the time when we're doing A to B, I'm going to use the level 2 strategy. But because we train for the situation, not in the situation, I want to prepare for any time when I need to get away and I can't feed immediately. Say another dog's run up to us unexpectedly, I don't really want to get treats out because that could encourage them to follow us. So I'm going to A to B, and I want to take a few steps before I reach in and feed. We want to be able to effortlessly walk away 10, 20 paces when we're practicing at home before we ever think of moving back into more challenging environments. This type of strategic practice is really important. We know that cues trigger behaviours. That's exactly what we're training. The cue of the hand sliding down the lead triggers the behaviour of our dog turning to us and us walking away together. But cues and behaviours can also trigger emotions. So if we trained A to B with force, if we went, say, straight to level 3, if we were stingy with our treats, if we spent all our time training in the situation and our dog was constantly being dragged away from things they want to get to, then the emotions that we would grow in that situation would be annoyance, frustration, or even fear. What this would mean is that the moment that our dog felt our hand slide down the lead, it would automatically trigger the emotion that we've inadvertently conditioned. If you're getting some value from this, make sure you hit the like button so it can spread to even more people. Thank you, I appreciate it. Now, you may be tempted to go the other way and make your A to B a party. And I've seen this with trainers so often. They're teaching something like an emergency U-turn and the dog's bouncing around and having a great time. But in an emergency, when our dog's already highly aroused and on the verge of not being able to think, do we really want to be throwing buckets of arousal into that situation? Do we want to be filling their stress bucket even more? Probably not. But what if that cue and that behaviour could trigger calm emotions? What if A to B could trigger Zen? Guess what? It can. But we have to deliberately promote that state while we're training. So after we A to B, we want to do things like scatter feed our dog. Or you might like to try some gentle massage or even some aeroplane feeding. This is why it's so important to train for the situation, not in the situation. We don't want all that emotional baggage that comes with training in the situation. We want to deliberately cultivate the emotion we want our dogs to feel when we cue that behaviour. We want that emotion to be useful and functional for them in that situation. For reactive dogs, we want our cues to transition them to calm, positive emotions. And when we train for the situation like this, deliberately growing helpful emotions, we see that our dogs are not only better equipped to perform behaviours in real life, they're also better equipped to cope with those situations too. Make sure you tune in next time when Tower from Dog Paws Training in California teaches me and Chaos the cutest trick ever. We learn how to take a selfie together.